Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. Today, I wanted to put together an evening show. It's Monday, the 28th of November, around 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. In the after hours, trading gold is up $18 an ounce. It's been doing very well of late. Really, I think what we're seeing is that the market is starting to anticipate that the Federal Reserve is about to slow down at least their interest rate hikes. And that will be bearish for the US dollar, bullish for gold, silver, other commodities that are priced in the US dollar. So I think we're seeing a trend reversal where we had most of this year with gold, our US dollar doing extremely well. And while that was happening, gold, silver, copper, other metals that are priced in the US dollar were down. And I think those two trends are about to reverse. US dollar down and the gold, silver, copper, other metals up. And today was a busy day for news. And I wanted to talk about some of the news that went out today, as well as some of the news that's pending from the companies that I follow closely. So we'll get right into it. One of the serial news release companies with great news has been i-80 Gold, IAU on the Toronto Exchange, IAUX on the New York Stock Exchange. They've just been coming out with news release after news release after news release from both their Granite Creek project, and recently they had spectacular news from their project in Eureka, Nevada. They hit a thick intersection of 60 gram per ton gold over 10 meters. And this is in a CRD. CRD systems aren't supposed to have high-grade gold, but what it looks like is this key structure, this key fault or crack in the earth that allows the fluids to come up with CRD mineralization, as well as, in this case, high-grade gold. They're also finding high-grade gold to the west of their CRD, slightly north, west of the historical pit. And the stock has been on a tremendous move of late. It's one of those power charts that I talk about. It's trading aggressively above its 200-day moving average and its 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average is maybe within a week away from going through a golden cross. And I think that's going to push the stock much higher. They seem to come out with news every couple of weeks. It wouldn't surprise me if they're on schedule will be some news this week. So that's a cornerstone holding for what I think investors that are interested in gold mining stocks that have a lot of leverage to exploration success as well. I think the gold production will make them, their profile of their growth will make them one of the best performing gold mining stocks in the near term over the next few years, with exceptional growth in their annual production. And importantly, I think that that's going to be high margin gold production, which means low cost, high margins, lots of profit that will fuel them for many years into the future. So I'm a big fan of i-80 Gold, and just look at the list of all their news releases and the number of interviews that I do with you and Downey on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News. We go into depth on most every news release they put out. I'm hoping to be talking to him again soon. Okay, so another company that could be coming out with news any day now from that same Eureka area is a company called Paycore. CORE is their stock symbol on the Venture Exchange. They're directly below I-80 Gold. And what makes what they're doing quite impressive is that the same fault or crack in the earth that goes through I-80's ground and where they're finding all this CRD with high-grade base metals and high-grade gold, the Paycore folks are on that same fault structure and corridor, if you will, of secondary faulting. And they are also finding CRD with a high-grade gold overprint. Whether those two are associated or they're two different events still remains to be seen, but I think there's a possibility that you've got a corridor of 3 kilometers, or 2.5, 3 kilometers of the right kind of features, the structures, the right kind of rock that these CRDs can make their way into, and the overprint of gold, which makes this one of the reasons that I think that this Eureka area is going to be one of the probably the most important exploration region in Nevada. And another company that's right below them is a company called Golden Lake Exploration. I recently became an advisor to the company. The same fault system, the same corridor goes right through Golden Lake's property as well. And there's been a lot of historical mining on Golden Lake's property, and this was a well-known camp for CRD deposits and mines. And so they have the right kind of structure and a lot of historical mining, and they've also had some hits of gold. So this whole corridor has the potential of Carlin-type gold mineralization, as well as CRDs, and also CRDs that also have an overprint of extreme high-grade gold. And that's a tremendously exciting corridor. Right below, so you've got I-80 Gold, Paycore, Golden Lake, and then you've got Timberline. They're another company that's done a lot of drilling. They recently had some good news releases out about expanding on their known resource. And then they also drilled slightly north of that, and there's a interesting faulting system up there. They didn't quite get to it, but they started to hit some sniffs of CRDs. Again, this whole corridor from I-80, Paycore, Golden Lake, and Timberline is emerging as what I think is the most important discovery area in Nevada currently, led by the elephant in the room, I-80 Gold, but these other companies, Paycore, Golden Lake, and Timberline, have a lot going for them as well. And Timberline has done a bunch of drilling recently, and they could have news out at any moment. So that's why I wanted to talk about those 4 companies, just simply because of the tremendous success that I-80 is having, Paycore's having, and I think Golden Lake and Timberline will be having as well. So keep a close eye on the Eureka trend. All of these companies are sponsors of my websites or my shows. So I've done interviews with all of them. You can go to my YouTube channel, Rocks and Stocks News, check out those interviews, and I'm certain that there will be more coming for these companies in the possibly even this week. Okay, so another sponsor that is 9 Mile Metals. They had news release out today. They have they have a high grade lens at their 9 Mile Brook area, and the next step is to get drilling around that. It was a 10-meter plus lens that also had over 10% copper in it. So tremendously high grade, very valuable rock. Next step is for them to get after drilling to look for the source of that lens. And because the lens is so thick and high grade, it's indicative of the potential of the entire system, the source of where that's coming from. But then today they had news release out because 20 kilometers away from that lens is what they call their California Lake project. And at California Lake earlier today, they announced the XRF X-ray XRF results, and these XRF guns are good at assessing the grade of base metals, especially in massive sulfides. And they had those out for their massive sulfide hits, and they had two zones from two holes of about 10 meters of sulfides. And included in that was massive sulfides that they kicked out results anywhere from 7% zinc all the way up to 41% zinc. And some of the core had 95% sulfide, massive sulfides, just littered with sulfides. And they described it. I did an interview with the guys, their CEO and their head geologist earlier today, and they explained it as these zones that are right at surface with this high grade massive sulfides are like fingers of a hand. And next they got to look for the hand and the arm, because these massive sulfides are volcanogenic events, and they come up in clusters, and they have, I think, 6 more holes pending XRF readings, and then all that core is being sent to the lab for assaying. And I'm pretty optimistic that the assays, what will make it different is the XRF is not good at assessing precious metals. Now, in the zonation of grade of these VMS deposits, they often come in like closest to surface or at the top of the system. You'll get zinc, lead, and silver. Then as you go deeper, you'll get copper and gold. They had lower grades of copper, which you expect higher in the system, but very high grade zinc and lead. And so now as they do the assaying for the precious metals, I would suspect that they'll see some nice grades of silver in there as well. But the fact that they're also getting copper suggests that there's a copper zone below the zinc or zinc lead silver zone that could kick out some very nice grades of copper and gold. So I invite you to check out that interview we did earlier. It was a very eye-opening interview. I think this company with a $13 million valuation is extremely cheap, and they're now have to understand they got to drill for the feeders for 2 massive sulfide areas, and they have a bunch more targets. So check out 9 Mile Metals. So the next company that I'm going to talk about is Sokoman. Sokoman recently went through what I think is a very important development at their Moosehead project. And the reason that I say that is that they hit some extremely high grade, thick intersections. What are the numbers here? 39.6 meters of grading 12.5 grams of gold. Included in that was a higher grade interval of 10.25 meters, grading 41.97 grams per ton gold at the deepest drilling they have done at the lower east trend. So now they're getting ready. They did some televiewers. So what they do is they send a video or camera down the hole, and this allows them to get a look at the geology at depth. And what they said in their news release, there's some important stuff there. One is that other holes reported today, so they had some drilling from their eastern trend, where they had some good hits as well. Where is the information? While the main focus, okay, the company has been reviewing all available information from the immediate area, including televiewer data from the hole, combined with a visit from structural consultant Dr. David Collar, who spent 5 days at Moosehead reviewing the core. Following his rigorous assessment of core and 3D modeling, Dr. Collar corroborates that the intersection, that high-grade intersection I mentioned before, represents a new and previously unrecognized gold occurrence in the footwall to the eastern trend. The intersection in MH 22463 is complex, with the borehole intersecting at an oblique angle and crossing several gold-bearing intact veins and extensive mineralized vein breccia intervals. The interpreted westerly dip of the deeper level zone is new and opposite to the gold structures established at higher levels, and it is interpreted as either a high-grade linking structure or fold core controlled breccia vein zone. So what they're talking about there is that the mineralization is coming up in a different direction than the rest of the eastern trend. And it's also hitting a broken up package of rocks that the fluids made their way into. This is, the exact kind of thing of why I call these a jewelry box hits, and really the first one on this project, and why I consider them now to be at a seminal moment for that project, the Moosehead project. And when they start talking about complex mineralization, that's a very good thing, because the Swan Zone at the Fosterville mine can be described in the same way. And so then you get into these, maybe what you're seeing here is that if this is the eastern trend, and then you've got other veins coming up there, and they're coming into this broken up rock, that's a very good area to be looking for more of that. And they got Dr. Collar on the job, and they're getting ready to start cranking up the drill and chase after that jewelry box mineralization and try to expand on it. And these indications tell me that, well, first of all, when I saw the results from that hole, I started to think, okay, they're into a jewelry box here, like something like a Swan Zone at the Fosterville mine. Now this further gives me confidence that that's exactly what's happening here. So I think that they're at a very exciting point for the Moosehead project. Go take a look at that drill results, and they also have some good maps on there. That'll help you. I mean, this whole Moosehead project is full of a lot of gold, but then you got to understand the system and understand where you could be getting a jewelry box. And now that they've hit what I think is one, now they'll want to expand on it, and this data that they're looking at is helping them, and these recent results are very encouraging. So I invite you to take a look at Sokoman. Another company that, oh, by the way, Sokoman's symbol is SIC on the Venture Exchange. High Gold Mining recently had some good results out. I had an interview with Darwin Green. I'm really impressed with what they're finding there, and they also, any day now, they could be having additional news from their Ellis zone. Ellis is where last year they hit a monster hole, had 500 grams of gold in it over a pretty thick intersection for those kind of systems. And it's in a horizon of the right kind of rock. And they've announced some holes so far that are expanding that continuity of that Ellis zone. And they drilled a bunch of holes into that Ellis zone, and they've got a lot of holes pending. So stay tuned, because they're another one that could be coming out with results any day now. And I'm quite optimistic that they'll be able to release some excellent drill results into a strengthening gold price market, bull trend in the price of gold. And so high gold up in Alaska is another one to be watching for news from. Galantis Gold is also another one that they've done a bunch of drilling, and in fact, they've also started underground mining at their project in Ireland. This is a orogenic gold system, and they've had some exceptional results from that. Nice thick intersections of high-grade gold in what they call the dilation zone. So that's where the rock kind of opens up and allows the fluids to get in there, jewelry box kind of grades with extreme high grade. And another important thing about these orogenic gold systems is that they go on for very deep, 2, 3, 4,000 meters. And a lot of times as you get deeper, you get higher grades in these orogenic systems. And they have, I think, a great chance to deliver some more good news. And I'm hoping to see them come out with results any day now. And also updates from their production, which could be quite encouraging, because they have an exciting business model. They look like they have high margin gold near surface that they can mine at a high profit and use the profit from that to keep going lower into this orogenic gold system. And that will help them keep their stock nice and tight, and not have to issue a lot of stock in order to keep moving the project forward on the mining as well as the deeper drilling. I'm a big fan of orogenic gold systems, and these guys have one that looks quite exceptional. And I think it could be a company maker, what they are working on, and always looking for more news out of Galantis. As I was talking about that, it brought up another company that I've followed very closely over the years, done a bunch of interviews with Amex Exploration. Amex is in Quebec. They have an exciting series of deposits. One of them is close to surface, is an oxide system called Denise. And that looks like where they would start mining, and open pit with high grades for an open pit target. And right beside that is their eastern high grade zone, or their high grade zone. And it looks like they can mine out that pit, open pit target, and then that will give them easy access to go underground into the high grade zone, which has exceptional continuity from basically at surface, and the high grade continues to over a kilometer of depth and is still wide open at depth. Then they've done some exploration drilling around that and found other zones, high-grade zones in close proximity. These zones are tightly packed in between two faults. And these faults, as they trend towards the east, they come together. And it's in the package in between those two faults where they found all this orogenic gold, as well as the Denise zone. And where those two meet, those two faults, is sort of a perfect target for chasing after the conduit of what's driving all this gold mineralization. And if it all connects at depth, I mean, this is going to be could be another Fosterville type situation. And, I'm very impressed with how these zones are all tightly packed, and how they're tightly packed in between two faults. And as you keep moving over, you come to where those two faults intersect, and that could be an ideal plumbing system for the entire gold mineralizing system. So they're another one that has been aggressively drilling. They got a lot of news drill hole results pending. They're another one that can at any time be putting out good news. And that's another one. AMX is another one to watch for news at any moment. Okay, so then a couple of companies out in Newfoundland had some exciting news out today. Was Newfound Gold. Let me just get it here. Newfound Gold was up 76 cents today, 15%, on the news that they hit high-grade gold to the west side of the Appleton Fault. They found a lot of high-grade gold on the east side of the Appleton Fault, and this Appleton Fault is one of these deep structures. It's an orogenic gold system, and these big cracks in the earth are what allow those fluids to make their way up to surface. But until recently, all of their gold was being found on the east side of that Appleton Fault. And lately, they've been announcing some results from the west side. And here's the headline: Newfound Gold intercepts 42.6 grams of gold over 32 meters at the Keats West. Included in that was a high-grade interval of 171 grams over 6.5 meters. That gives you a metal factor of 600, over 1,000 metal factor. Really impressive stuff, and over thick intersections. Greg Matheson, who's their chief operating officer, said Keats West is turning into a zone of special interest for Newfound. Following today's release, we have now seen gold grades from low through to high, both over impressive widths, indicating the presence of a strong gold mineralizing system, end quote. And they had some of their drill core showing all the hits of the visible gold in the core. So, I mean, these guys are looking for another series of swan zones. I mean, they have a pretty healthy valuation of 956 million as we speak right now. But don't forget that Kirkland Lake had a multi-billion valuation and found this, or started mining the Swan Zone at Fosterville, and the rest is history. The stock went up dramatically, and they were bought out at an excellent return for their investors. So Newfound Gold had news out, and then right to their immediate north is Labrador Gold. And Labrador Gold has been drilling away on that same Appleton Fault. And today they had some really exciting results out as well. 23.44 grams of gold over 1.27 meters at their big vein southwest. It had 23 grams, 53 grams, 18 grams, 8.49 grams. This is like the forgotten stepchild, if you will, of newfound gold. But Labrador Gold is in the same kind of gold, or same kind of fault. It is in the same fault, and they're also hitting high grade. They have a much more reasonable valuation. Labrador's valuation is 44 million, and I think the same kind of potential is present for Labrador Gold. It's an orogenic gold system. You've got the right kind of fault. It's a deep crustal fault that allows those fluids to make their way up into towards the surface, and then you're getting this high-grade mineralization. So Labrador Gold had good results out today. I invite you to go check out their news releases, and I think they're on to something very exciting there as well. Okay, now recently I talked about a company for the first time. I did a show that I was talking about stock charts, and this company has had a pretty exceptional stock chart since June. It's really bucking the trend, trading much more strongly. And the reason that it's trading strongly is that they've got a good package of ground with Vizsla Silver, who's surrounding them and finding a lot of extremely bonanza grade silver in these epithermal veins that Vizsla has. So now Prismo Metals, PRIZ, on the Canadian Stock Exchange, also has a series of epithermal veins that are underexplored on their property, and where they've hit in the past drilling some of this bonanza grade silver as well. And recently they did some drilling, and those drill results are pending, but something came out last week that's quite interesting. What they announced is that Vizsla, who surrounds them, made a strategic investment to buy about 19% of the stock of Prismo. Now, in these kind of events, the companies, in this case, Vizsla, would have signed a confidentiality agreement, which would allow them to take a look at the drill core that Prismo has recently drilled. They had to have liked what they saw to put an investment in and take a big chunk of the company. And they also get a right of first refusal if there is a buyout offer on the table for Prismo. It sounds to me like Prismo has some very high-grade results, to some bonanza-grade silver to announce any day now. And they only have a $14.32 million valuation. Stock recently topped out at about, let's say, about close to 60 cents. I think it might have been right at about 60 cents. Let me just get this here. 59 cents. Down 4 cents today to 49 cents after that good news went out recently. It's just the nature of the sentiment towards gold and silver stocks these days. But as I said, they have pending results, and I think they could. I think they will have some excellent results out to talk about in the very near future. And I'm going to try really hard to get their management on an interview so we can talk about those results. They've got really great people involved with the company, some serious exploration guys. Dr. Peter McGaw's involved. He's the guy who found the Mag Silver's big discovery in Mexico. That's now at Juanicipio, that's now turned into a mine, very high profitable mine. And then Craig Gibson as well, Dr. Craig Gibson, very highly respected individual as well. He's the one who actually brought this property to the company. So yeah, Prismo, PRIZ, is one that has pending results that could come out at any time. As I was preparing to do this show, I came across a company called Viva Gold. Viva Gold had news release out today that caught my attention. Haven't had a chance to reach out to the company yet to see if I can get them in an interview, but they announced 58 meters with 5 grams of gold, including 11 meters of 24 grams of gold from their Tonopah Gold Project in Nevada. I love Nevada gold projects. I love to see high-grade gold. And that's what they delivered. James Hesketh, who's their CEO, he had a quote in their news release. These initial drill results are exceeding the stated goals of this program. Our program was designed to infill and extend mineralization to the north and south along the strike of the resource pit, and to convert inferred resources in the pit to measured and indicated. Actual results have thus far exceeded these goals by increasing grade with long, unexpected zones of high-grade gold intercepts. Even within the pit shell limits, we are still being surprised to the upside with new areas of high-grade mineralization. Results from holes drilled along strike on the north and south margins of the PEA-designed pit also confirm that the deposit remains open in those dimensions. We believe that continued success in increasing the widths of the mineral zone will help to reduce project strip ratio and increase gold resources while also improving project economics. We anxiously await the results from the remainder of our program, end quote. This news got the market pretty excited because it was up 105%, up 9 cents to 17.5 cents on their highest volume by far over the last year. So this definitely caught the market's imagination. I want to dig deeper into this news, and I'm going to reach out to the management, try to get them on an interview. Again, I love Nevada. I love high-grade gold. It looks like they've got something quite special here. So VAU, Viva Gold, VAU is their symbol on the Venture Exchange. Okay, another company that has pending assay results from 2 targets they drilled is one of my website sponsors called Walker River Resources. Walker River Resources has at their Pikes Peak target, they drilled what could be the heat engine for the gold mineralization that made its way through the faults over to the Laboucan Canyon project. And they drilled a few, I think about a half a dozen holes into that Pikes Peak target. Those assay results are pending. Then they went over to Laboucan Canyon, and at Laboucan Canyon, they had some of their best results. Now, this is a project that has hit a lot of high grade. But they've been drilling from the side of a mountain, which makes it challenging to try to drill to show continuity. Their highest hole on that Laboucan mountain is what they call their hotspot, and they hit really great results from that. Now, they went on top of the mountain where it's kind of flat, and they were able to drill shallow holes right into that hotspot. Those results are pending as well. You know, this project really excites me because I've seen a lot of high-grade gold out of their drilling from the side of the mountain. Now that they've got to sort of the top of the mountain and are hitting some of their best grades, and now they can poke holes vertically from the top of that mountain, it'll be a lot easier to show the potential of that hotspot but then give them an idea of how to follow that gold down the mountain. And you're talking a vertical extent of several hundred meters there from the top of the mountain to the bottom. So if they can connect all this, continuity is tremendously important in high grade gold systems, and they have a high grade gold system. Now they have to understand the continuity of that system, and being able to drill from the top down with a bunch of vertical holes will help them understand the geology and understand how to follow that. So again, this is a company that I think is at a seminal moment for their project. They've been hard at it for a few years. Sometimes these gold systems take a few years to really sink your teeth into, but I think that that's what Walker River Resources is doing, and they have pending results. And on that note, one other company that I talked about recently in their in that show that I did about impressive stock charts. This one has had a very significant breakout since the summer, and there was a lot of anticipation for the results. And I'm just going to pull that news release up because they hit some real barn burner stuff. 124 meters of 12.3% zinc, 1.3% lead, 45 grams of silver. Included in that was 60 meters of 19% zinc, 1.6% lead, and 64 grams of silver. This is in their project in the Yukon. And what really stood out to me is that last year I did an interview with Brandon McDonald, their CEO, and we were talking about, so the zones that they found so far are sort of horizontal in this right kind of rock where you can get the fluids flowing into there, and they get these nice big thick horizons of base metals. But the question that I was really interested in last year was, well, where is that coming from? And the reason that I had asked that was they had hit some, as they were getting closer to a key fault, they were getting some indications that they were into a massive sulfide situation. And I was thinking that maybe that's the plumbing that brought all this mineralization into these horizons or layers of a cake. And one of the pieces of information that stood out to me from this news release they released on 6 days ago was step out hole 9 or NB 22-002 successfully extended the Boundary West massive sulfide mineralization, remains open in multiple directions, including towards where geological vectors suggest a feeder zone may be present in which higher grades and thicknesses may be found. I got a feeling that that's what they were catching last year in their drilling. They followed it up this year and hit some barn burner numbers. Brandon McDonald, the CEO, stated, the first results from the 2022 program include the best intersection that we have ever had at Boundary Zone or anywhere on the property, including our Tom and Jason deposits. Boundary West seems to get higher grade the more we chase it to depth, and we see great potential for this massive sulfide zone. It is open along strike on both sides and at depth, including in the direction toward the potential feeder structure. These are exceptional assays to kick off reporting of our 2022 drill results. So they have a bunch more holes to announce, but that stuff talking about the structure, the feeder zone, the massive sulfides as you get closer to that potential feeder to the mineralization that then made its way out into these stratigraphic horizons. The reason that I'm was so excited about what they found last year and the potential for what they're now following up and finding this year was that in the horizons, they have thick intersections of extreme high grade. So that's suggestive of a very powerful mineralizing system. And so then you ask yourself, well, where's the plumbing that got that mineralization out there? Because it should be very powerful and high grade. And here you have it. They drilled into it. And they can't wait to see more results. I don't know how many are pending from that potential feeder zone area. To get better clarity on that, I'm going to try and get Brandon McDonald on another interview, sort of our annual annual interview. I really like what they're doing at this project, and the not only the potential of what they have in these stratigraphic horizons, but the plumbing system for that mineralization is tremendously exciting, and these results speak highly of that potential. So I'll try to get Brandon on an interview here pretty soon. So on that note, that's the show for today. As always, my shows are for information purposes only. Important for you to speak with your financial advisors and do your homework before making any investment decisions. A good place to start that is I've done interviews with a lot of these companies. So go to my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News. You can start your due diligence process there. Then I would suggest you go to their websites, look at their news releases, look at their maps, look at their corporate presentations. And I think you'll understand why I talk about these companies a lot and like what they're all doing. And there you have it. On that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.